How Bill Gates digitally transformed the world. Stick around to find out.
A continuous improvement movement reserved for the few with the grit to prove it. Everybody claim, but the click exclusive. Many pursue, but it's too elusive.
Calvin, Bill Gates has some very impressive accomplishments. One of them being that he grew Microsoft from a garage company to a company which market cap is $3.28 billion. His own net worth is about $108 billion, and he has given to charity more than $59 billion. Can you tell me what is his secret sauce?
Okay, so Bill Gates, the Sultan of Software's secret sauce is theory of constraints. So if you never heard of theory of constraints, it's a way of looking at processes and even in business processes in a way to identify what's limiting throughput through that process, right? So a lot of us in the IE world or CI world call those bottlenecks. So you're trying to identify, eliminate, alleviate bottlenecks to increase throughput. So the reason I say this is Bill Gates' secret sauce, okay? Number one, strategic partnerships. He increased the viability of PCs or personal computers throughout the world by introducing an operating system, made it much easier to use by the common person. Number two, professionalizing software development. And this may be the biggest one because he created the software development economy or the software economy. Before that, companies just gave software away. He was the one who said, you know what, software developers should get paid too for what they do. There's a lot of value there. And he essentially led to the world where we live in today, where software developers get paid. And number three, it's impossible to measure the productivity gains that we have achieved through the use of software, the use of Microsoft products, and also through his philanthropical efforts. You can see that productivity in so many ways, hard to even imagine, have been increased. So there you are, Bill Gates, the man who digitally transformed the world. Secret sauce is theory of constraints.
Thank you, Calvin. Can you tell me a little bit more about what strategic partnerships have to do with theory of constraints?
So yeah, if you look at what he did is, he's the guy who envisioned a PC in everybody in the world's home. And I think the original PC manufacturers probably didn't think that the PC had that much potential, but he saw it. So he was one of the guys, along with Apple, maybe a few other people, but certainly he's the one who took it the furthest, who said, in order for PCs to be so viable in every home in the world, certainly in America and beyond America, it has to be useful. It has to be very user friendly. It has to have an operating system. So he's the guy who pioneered the idea of the operating system being installed on just about every PC that got distributed.
And I think that's the milestone that he achieved with the partnership with IBM.
Right.
Because when they talked and he convinced IBM that he could put his operating system in his computers, and a key point is that he managed to keep the ownership of Microsoft because
Right.
IBM wanted the rights to the software.
Yeah.
So he managed to keep ownership. He put it in IBM computers. So everybody that had an IBM computer had Bill Gates' operating system.
Yeah.
But then obviously, shortly after, there were people that came out with even cheaper personal computers, and Microsoft was able to put their operating system
That's right.
on those too.
Yeah, because Bill Gates learned a lot from Steve Jobs at Apple about how software can be a lot more user friendly, and that he kind of wove some of those learnings into the Microsoft product. And the thing is, Steve Jobs was giving away software. They didn't sell the software component; they only sold the hardware, the computer, the device itself, right? And that was the world back then. Even IBM was mainly just selling their machines, their hardware, and the software was just kind of an afterthought. But once they saw the success and how excited people were and how dependent they had become on Bill Gates's operating system and software, then they wanted in on the action.
So I think in that story, we can see the theory of constraints exemplified because Bill Gates was always thinking of the biggest bottleneck he had
Right.
and went for that first.
Right.
So in this case, it was distribution
Yeah.
and it was making sure people were paying for this
Yeah.
piece of software.
And I think he hit two bottlenecks in that, right? One was, how do I make PCs more useful for the common person, right? And number two, how do I get my software distributed to the masses? And this is the way to do it.
Right. So at this point, everybody that was using Microsoft products was paying for a license.
Right.
So we are saying he professionalized software development. What
Yeah.
can you tell me about that?
Okay, great point. So prior to what Bill Gates had done, developers were hobbyists more so, right? Again, nobody was selling software. They were just selling their machines, their hardware, and their computers, right? So Bill Gates was the one who said, you know what? These developers deserve to get paid just like anybody else. We need to put a price tag on this software, and we need to sell software as a product itself, right? That's where software became a product almost. So in doing so, he created the profession of a software developer, and it became a viable career path, and it's become a computer science degree in just about every
university
there is, and it's kind of getting into high school, and even before that, in some cases, STEM and all of that. So, so we can thank Bill Gates for the industry that is software development now that we have.
So he not only created the industry of software development as we know it today, but he also achieved immeasurable productivity gains.
Right.
So how did theory of constraints help achieve these productivity gains?
All right, just let's put something in perspective, right? We profile very successful people, and a lot of the people we profile are software people, right?
I know.
Yeah.
It just went crazy.
Disproportionate. If you look at the top 10 most wealthy people on the planet,
they're in tech.
Almost all of them are either in tech or more so in software, right? So you can look at paying for something as an exchange of values, right? If we buy software, we subscribe to a software, Netflix, Amazon, you can go down the list. It's a demonstration that, hey, we value this. And Bill Gates was the one who stood up and said this needs to be a real thing that people pay for. So now, why do we value it? It's because it makes us more productive. It makes our jobs easier. It makes our lives easier. It makes our businesses run more efficient. It gives us visibility of things we couldn't otherwise see, right? It gives us capabilities we wouldn't otherwise have. So, man, by really taking software and making it a real thing, and in doing so, paying developers is making better software, has also made us all more productive at the end of the day.
And we keep striving for gains in productivity.
Yeah.
Like nowadays is AI, for example. And people
Right.
and we value that as a society. Look, I'm gonna go there. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna go there with the new player coming into the playground, DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, yeah.
When DeepSeek showed up, the market had a loss of $3 trillion in capitalization. So
Jeez.
$3 trillion were lost.
Wow.
Because a more efficient, more cost-effective AI model was released.
All right, and put that in perspective, right? Today we're talking AI. Everybody's talking about AI and how it's disrupting wealth, it's disrupting jobs, it's disrupting the economy globally, right? AI wouldn't be even remotely close to being possible without the contributions of Bill Gates.
That's right, yeah.
The database software system that we talked about with Larry Ellison and Oracle wouldn't even be possible without the foundation that Bill Gates laid, right? So we cannot overstate the impact that this individual has had on the way we live globally today.
I agree. And now you know it. Bill Gates' secret sauce, theory of constraints. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get better every day, and we'll see you again tomorrow. For daily news on operational excellence and how it relates to current events, check us out on the Ticket to Freedom podcast.
Simply subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay up to date on the latest developments in continuous improvement.